Good day everyone. So pag-uusapan natin ngayon is solar-powered home, grid tied, and specifically ang sisimula natin is its operating principle. So ano nga ba ang operating principle ng isang solar-powered home? Sabi dito, a solar-powered home works by capturing energy from the sun and turning it into electricity using photovoltaic or PV cells. So ang ginagawa na daw ng solar-powered home is nagka-capture siya ng energy from the sunlight and then converts it into electricity. These cells are usually placed on the roof or in sunny areas. When sunlight hits the panel, they produce direct current or DC electricity. An inverter then changes this into alternating current or AC, which powers appliances in the home. So basically ang habang dumadating daw yung energy ng sunlight, kino-convert nito to sa electricity. Itong electricity naman daw na ito is DC pa lang siya. And then gagamit daw tayo ng inverter para maging AC siya, which we can use for our appliances sa ating bahay. This system helps reduce electric bills and reliance on fossil fuels, making it an eco-friendly energy solution. So, eco-friendly energy solution daw ang solar-powered system. So, next naman natin is ang parts and function ng isang solar-powered home. Grid tied pa rin tayo. So, dito naman sa parts and function, una natin pag-uusapan is photovoltaic panels or yung PV panels natin or yung mismong color blue. Sabi dito, this converts sunlight into direct current DC electricity using semiconductor materials. So, ganyan yung itsura niya. Color blue siya and yan, nilalagay siya sa taas ng bubong. Next one, we have inverter. Converts DC electricity from the PV panels into alternating current electricity, which is used for most home appliances. So, yan daw yung ginagamit para ma-convert natin yung DC into AC para magamit natin sa ating mga bahay. Charge control for battery system. So, yan, regulates the voltage and current coming from the solar panels going to the batteries to prevent overcharging. So, optional lang yan. Pero mas maganda pa rin na meron. So, nire-regulate daw niya yung voltage and current na pumapasok dun sa solar panel mo. Para syempre hindi masira o mag-deteriorate agad yung batteries mo. Next naman is battery bank. Stores excess electricity generated by the solar panels for use during low sunlight periods, night or cloudy days. Optional lang din yan. May mga bahay na gumagamit ng solar panel na hindi nila kailangan ng battery bank. And may mga bahay din naman na gumagamit ng battery bank para may ginagamit din sila sa gabi na walang sunlight. Next, we have electric panel o yung breaker box kung tawagin. Distributes electricity throughout the home from both solar panel and grid sources, ensures proper loading management. So basically, ito lang yung manager ng load mo or manager ng buong bahay mo pagdating sa kuryente. So itong electric panel or yung breaker box na to, siya doon nagdidistribute ng electricity throughout the home and nakamanage yon by sections. Next we have is yung utility grid or yung grid connections. Measures electricity usage and allows for two-way flow between the home and utility grid. So yan, pwedeng pumasok dyan na kapag may sumobra ka na halimbawa na generate na kuryente, pwede natin ibalik dun sa grid. Monitoring system, ito yung mga devices or applications na pwede mong gamitin para ma-monitor yung performance, energy production, and consumption ng solar panel mo and consumption ng appliances mo or yung bahay mo mismo. Next one and the last one, we have mounting structure and wiring. Itong mga mounting structure and wirings na to supports and connects PV panels securely to the roof or ground, ensuring proper wiring for electricity transmission. So ito raw, basically, ito yung mga rails na ginagamit kadalasan sa bubong and minsan naman sa ibaba pag malalaking open fields. But mostly sa bubong, lalo sa mga households. Ginagamitan niya ng mga rails, pwedeng aluminum, pwedeng steel. And syempre, naglalagay pa sila ng steel beams before nila ikabit yan.
Solar-powered home, grid tied. Today we will talk about the law that supported customer when installing the solar power grid. The net metering. course, first question, what is net metering? Net metering allows the customer of distribution utilities to install on-site a renewable energy, but it will not exceed to 100 kilowatts. Yung basta hindi lalampas ng 100 kilowatts ang nag-generate na electricity nito. And excess energy from our solar panel that will automatically exported to our distribution utilities will turn into peso credit or makaka-receive tayo ng bayad ng distribution utilities kapag may mga sobra tayong electricity na natatransfer sa ating mga distribution utilities or sa main source ng electricity like Meralco and NECO. Next question. Is net metering already available in Philippines? Yes. It's available or naipasa ito noong May 27, 2013. It took effect 15 days after the law is passed or mula nung ito ay naipasa. Then the third question, what benefit will I get if I go into net metering? Ano nga ba ang magiging benefit natin kapag tayo ay nag-apply sa net metering? Of course, it will reduce the electricity na nabibili natin or magagamit natin na nanggagaling sa main distributor or sa ating distribution utilities. Maaari tayong makasave katulad ng sinabi natin kanina na mataturn ito sa peso credit. Yes, possible din na tayo mismo yung kumita sa pag-earn ng peso credit na to. Bukod pa sa makakatipid na tayo sa nakuha nating electricity mula sa solar panel. Fourth question, how will my distribution utilities monitor the excess energy that my grid tied setup is exporting towards the grid? Siyempre, nagtataka rin tayo sakali. Paano nga ba nalalaman kung gaano karami na yung exceeded na excess energy natin na napupunta sa power grid? Siyempre, may mga paraan yan para malaman. First is mag-a-apply tayo ng panibagong metro na ang nililista naman or ang kinukuha ang milimetro ay ang nag-exceed na electricity mula sa ating solar panel or power grid. And the other one, of course, is yung isa pang metro. Pero this meter is enough to compute kung gaano karami yung nakukuha nating electricity mula sa ating distribution utilities and na-compute din ito kung gaano karaming electricity ang nabibigay natin sa distribution utilities. Kung all-in-one na itong pangalawa. The fifth question, who are qualified to participate in net metering program? Siyempre, para makapagbigay ka ng excess energy sa distribution utility, kailangan customer ka nila. May kailangan ng papers para makapasa dito. And also, dapat wala kang utang sa yung distributors. And hindi ka pwedeng hindi tanggapin ito. Basta't mapasa mo lahat or maibigay mo lahat ng mga requirements na hinihingi nila. Now, the consequences of not applying for net metering. In the case of solar panel system is being installed that doesn't apply net metering. Lahat ng excess energy sa ating solar panel are being fed in the grid or sa metro. And binabasa niya ito as used of energy ng customer. Meaning, kahit yung palabas na electricity or ang excess electricity na nagmumula sa panel na dinadala sa distribution utilities, kapag hindi gumamit ng tamang metro or hindi nag-apply sa net metering, yung mga excess energy natin is mababasa as used natin or tayo ang gumamit nun. Ibig sabihin, imbis na makamura is makakamahal pa sa pagbabayad natin sa ating kuryente. Kaya importante ang pag-apply sa net metering. And another question is there any other way besides net metering that customer have a solar panel system producing excess energy during the day, yet will not pay for it? Of course, the answer is yes. And it can be achieved using inverter with limiter. Kumbaga, ito ay inverter na naglilimit lamang or automatically nagmi-minimize ng pagbibigay ng electricity, or it will automatically detect the maximum power that the system can provide without excess being sent to grid, or computed lang ng inverter na ito yung mga ibibigay niyang kuryente para hindi makapag-access sa power grid, or hindi na natin kailanganin yung net metering kasi computed na ng inverter na to kung gaano lang karami yung magagamit natin sa ating bahay. Of course, next is our circuit connections. This is the connection or part of circuit connection ng ating solar panel. In this picture, we can see that we only have one solar panel, but in reality, we can use more, or we can connect more solar panel. Even we use series or in parallel connection, there will only be two wire that comes out in solar arrays, and it has polarity, the positive and the negative, that it cannot be interchanged because it is a direct current. And from solar panel, we will interconnect the input side of DC circuit breaker, and it will be parallel to our direct current surge protection device. And as you can see, there were green wires, and these wires is our grounding conductors that is of course connected to the grounding electrode and connected to the ground. Now, this is the AC side, the power that turns from DC side to AC side, or from direct current to alternating current. It is connected to the input side of our programmable timer that goes to time delay switch. But noted that this two device is just optional, and it still be in standard in connected when creating a solar panel. And of course, it is connected to our AC SPD or AC surge protection device that is now connected to the RCBO or our AC side breaker. Noted that these two wire can be interchanged if it is in line-to-line connection, but it cannot be interchanged if the line is line to neutral because it can affect our devices, and there is a risk of short circuits. Continuing it will now be connected to our panel board. This main panel board, as you can see it already consists of many circuit breaker as well the ground bus bar that interconnect to all grounding conductors within the circuit. And from panel board, at last, it will be connected to our circuit breaker.
So, punta naman tayo ngayon sa wire sizing. You will ask, ano-ano ba yung ginagamit na wire sa grid tie solar panel? Anong klase or gaano kalaki, gaano kataba, gaano kaikli yung ginagamit doon. So, kung ano-ano pang katanungan. Tulad ng, meron bang definite size or computation para malaman yung why nagagamitin, di ba? So, or kung meron man, kailangan ba ito sundin point to point? So, yun yung mga tanong na we will be answer in this topic. So, tapos yung tanong na magagamit ba yung AC type na wiring sa grid type solar panel? So, yun naman. The answer is yes. And this is the, for example of this. So, the first one is the TW or the thermoplastic wire. Moisture resistance and flame retardant. So, ibig sabihin lang nito, hindi siya agad nag-absorb ng moisture at nasusunog. The second one is the THW, thermoplastic heat resistance wire. Moisture resistance din siya and flame retardant. So, yung add na H is for heat resistance. So, mas better siya sa TW. So, the third one is the THNN, the thermoplastic high heat resistance nylon coated, designed for a specific insulation material, temperature rating, and condition of use suitable for dry and damp location. So, mas better siya sa TW at THW because it designed for a specific insulation material para sa temperature rating tsaka condition of use. So, di ba? Mas mas okay siya sa TW at THW gamitin. So, the last one or the fourth one is the TTHHN or THWN-2. THWN is similar to THHN except it is water resistant. Adding the W in the acronym, THWN is rated for up to 167 Fahrenheit or 75 Celsius in wet environments, but its successors, THWN-2, is rated for 90 Celsius in both wet and dry environments. Historically, THHN and THWN were separate wires, but now you will typically find their capabilities combined in the THNN or the HWN DAS2 design. So yun nga, sinasabi lang rito na before that, TTHN, HN, and THWN DAS2 are separately you can buy, but now you can both those two at the same time. So historically, yung THHN and THW were separate price, yun nga. Then dati, historically, yung THW is rated up to 167 Fahrenheit or 75 Celsius. So, yung parang in-upgrade nila. And then, yun nga, nagawa nila yung THW DAS2 na mas mataas yung capability niya. Na kaya yung 90 Celsius, both wet and dry environments. So, yun. So, yung wire na to is better than those three that we have mentioned. Those three is the THNN, THW, and TW. So here's a breakdown to help make some sense of lettering. The T stands for thermoplastic insulated cable. A single H means the wire is heat resistant. HH means the wire is heat resistant and can withstand a higher temperature. N means nylon coated. The added W signifies that the wire is also resistant to wire. So yun, yung apat na binanggit natin kaninang wires is dito nakuha yung pangalan nila. So sa slide naman na ito, kung gusto mo ng wire na yayamanin yung setup, mas maganda, mas matibay. Pero syempre, may kapalit to na mas maganda rin yung presyo. So ito yun, we call it Phoebe wires. This type is an exclusive kind of wire created for Phoebe application. These cables behave extremely well in a very hot temperature and other harsh environmental condition. Its special characteristics unfair to other wire is its insulation and other sheet, which is made up of XLPE or EPR. XLPE is an acronym for cross-linked XLP. Is a polyethylene. It is a polyethylene. XLPE is a thermosetting polymer, meaning that the material polyethylene PE is a cured under heat, and in that process forms bands in all directions, forming a three-dimensional matrix. APR means ethylene propylene rubber. So yung PP is photovoltaic, yung ibig sabihin ng CP. So we all know that wire of solar panel are exposed in environment in the top of the rope. So these PV wires are created to behave in a harsh environmental condition. And looking at this figure, it consists of double layer condition, which either consists of XLPE or EPR. XLPE is an acronym for cross-linked XLPE. So polyethylene, and FER is ethylene propylene rubber. And the span of this wire are same as the solar panel or baka mas matibay pa. Kaya ganun din talaga siya kamahal. Like we mentioned earlier, kung gusto mo nang mamahalin, dito ka na. Pero kung gusto mo nang medyo murahin, pwede na yung TTHHN or THWN DAS2. Matagal din yung inaabot nun. So, in this slide naman, the AWG or the American Wire Gauge. So, somehow been adapted here in the PH. So, dito sa AWG, uh, pag lalong papalaki yung restrictive number niya, papaliit naman yung wire. Then, vice versa. Mentras na papaliit yung restrictive number, papalaki naman yung wire. So, tulad nito, number 14 gauge, diba? Malaki yung number niya, pero mas maliit yung wire. So, sa vice versa naman, maliit yung number niya. So, tingnan nyo, malaki yung wire na ginamit sa kanya. So, this slide naman, this was a different table in computing copper wire size within photovoltaic system. So, this was the table for conductor ampacity. So, here there are columns which are for aluminum and copper. But of course, in our baby system, we are going to use the copper. Therefore, let's magnify this portion. There it is. So, next slide naman is the table for temperature rating of copper conductor table. Then the next is the table for correction on ambient temperature. So, this next slide is the table for ambient temperature adjustment for raceways or cable exposed to sunlight on or above rooftop. So, in photovoltaic system, yung ginagamit nating cables ay laging exposed sa sunlight or above rooftops. So, especially we are going to use in connecting those panel. So, next slide naman is the table for adjustment factors for more than 3 current carrying conductors. So, kapag higit sa tatlo yung ipapasok natin, we're going to use this table. So, next slide naman is the table for AWG cross-sectional R in cm. So, laging ginagamit dito is yung circular mills. Then naman yung slide ng standard ampere ratings. So, dito tayo titingin kapag nag-round up na tayo ng value kasi di naman laging sakto or madalas hindi, di ba? So, kasi wala namang nabibiling 2.5 amperes sa palengke, kaya kailangan mo i-round off yun. So, gagamitin natin ito gamitin natin itong mga table na ito mamaya pag nag-solve tayo ng ampere o ng wire na gagamitin na dapat gamitin sa sa wire sizing natin. Pero dahil nga sinabi ko kanina na mas mainam yung mas malaki yung wire sizing. Pero syempre kailangan pa rin natin yung sundin yung mga steps noon kasi nga electrical engineer tayo. So kailangan alam din natin yun for mas, diba? Para mas malaman natin. So, next slide. So, meron tayong 8 steps in conductor sizing. Kaya kailangan ng conductor sizing is because para sakto yung wire para sa system mo. Pero pwede din ito sumobra. Mas maganda yung kakalabasan kasi mas minimize mo yung losses. Saan maganda mag-conduct ng kuryente? Siyempre sa mas mababa ang resistance. So, pumps lang yan. So, sa wiring din, kapag mas mababa yung resistance, mas mataba yung wire. So, dahil mas mababa yung resistance, mas mamiminimise yung losses. Kaya kung may budget ka naman, so tabahan mo na yung wire. So yun. Siyempre, as a electrical engineer, dapat alam mo pa din yung 8-step kahit sabihin na kailangan lagi na mas malaki yung wire na gagamitin. So, ito yung 8 steps. Una is look for the ISC rating of PV cell. Step 2, multiply by two safety factors, irradiance and continuous QT. Step 3, refer on table 310.15b 16 for the size of wire. So yun, 310.15b16 is the table for ampere conductor, yung unang table na pinakita ko. Then the step 3 is step 4, refer on table 310.15b2a for opacity correction due to ambient temperature more than 30 degrees. So yun nga yung table for ambient temperature naman yung titingnan natin. Yung ambient temperature for correction factors. So step 5, refer on table 310.15b3c for ambient temperature adjustment due to convent or while in distance from the roof. Yun naman yung susunod na titingnan natin sa step 5. So step 6 is refer on table 310.15.3a for adjustments due to more than 3 wire inside a conduit. So yan. Step 7, find the adjustment due to voltage drop. Okay. And then step 8, the value obtained in the last step will be the basis for the size of wire to use in the PV system. So yun. Kung makikita natin sa picture na to, sa susunod na slide, is yung Santec, Trina-Solar, Jinko Solar, and Jazz Solar. So makikita natin dito sa Jazz Solar is yung short circuit current. Yun yung ISC. So makikita natin dito na 9.75 ampere siya. So yun yung short circuit current, ISC. Okay. So, the next slide is the problem solving. So dito, alamin natin kung paano ba natin malalaman kung ano yung dapat na wire na gagamitin natin para sa ating solar panel. So, syempre, dito, tulad ng steps na binasa natin kanina is kailangan alam natin yung temperature ng lugar na yun para malaman din natin kung anong wire yung gagamitin para sa solar panel na yun. Para mas matagal yung abuti ng ating solar panel grid type. So, yun. Okay. Find the proper wire size for a grid type PV system consisting of 3 GA solar panels connected in series with specs of the previous slides. So, doon sa slides kanina, so dito makikita natin sa JS Solar or Jazz Solar na yung ISC na is, or the short circuit current is 9.75. So yun yung nakalagay sa step 1. Look for the ISC rating of photovoltaic cells. So the ISC of Jazz Solar is 9.75 ampere. So yan. The step 2 is multiply by two factors, the irradiance and the continuous QT. So yung irradiance and continuous QT is have a 25% original of the original ID. So we'll times the ISC 2 times 2 in 1.25. So if you times this, the 9.75 ampere times 1.25, then times again to 1.25, it will give new photovoltaic cell. So, it will give us a 15.23 ampere. So, in step 3, refer on table 310.15b16 or the table for ampere conductor for the size of wire. The table indicates that number 14 THHN with an opacity of 25 amps. So, ampere. So, kung titingnan natin yung table sa table for ampere conductor, makikita natin yung makikita natin siya. Okay, tingnan natin. So, 15 something siya dito. So, makikita natin doon na 4 THHN siya. So, yun. Sa 25 ampere. So, yun yung step 3. So, since the 14 American wire gauge is not the best practice for the photovoltaic system, we can use the number 12 THHN with an opacity of 30 amperes. So, yun nga, yung sinasabi natin kanina na kung merong budget para sa mas malaking wire, yun na yung bili natin. Katulad nito, nasolve natin is number 14 American wire gauge, but the suggested is to use the number 12. So yun, kung may budget naman, mas laki yan. For more, para onti lang yung lose energy. Okay. So, yung step 4 naman, opacity correction due to ambient temperature. So, dito, kinoconsider na natin yung temperature, syempre, para mas, malaman natin or mas magtatagal yung wire kasi alam natin kung gano'n yung temperature niya, kung ano yung kailangan na opacity, ganun, current. So, yun. Since Philippines ambient temperature is around 37 degrees, so yung temperature natin dito is 37 degrees. Siyempre, tumataas yun, pero parang yun yung pinaka ambient temperature dito sa Pilipinas. So, pupunta naman tayo sa table 310.15b2. So, the table 313.15 P2A indicates. So, makikita natin sa table na yun, yung table for ambient temperature for correction factors. So, yun nga. Kailangan natin table na yun for correction factors. So, makikita natin sa table na yun yung 0.91. So, 0.91 yun sa 37 degrees. So, times natin siya, 30 times 2, 0.91. So, the need amperes or current is 27 ampere. Okay. Then, step 5, ambient temperature adjustment due to rope wire distance. So, conforme sa rope distance, kunwari, for 1/2 in above rope. So, i-add natin siya, 1/2 in above rope, 37 plus yung 37 degrees Celsius kanina, plus natin yun, 22 pa. Kasi for 1/2 above rope or the rope wire distance. So, 37 plus 22 is equal to 59 Celsius. So, may 59 Celsius tayo. So, tingin naman tayo sa table 310.15b2a. At yung table na yun ay yung table for ambient temperature temperature agad. So, 59 degrees indicate to 0.71. So, yung 27 ampere na yun, ita times naman natin sa 0.71. So, it will be equal in 19.75 ampere. So, since 19.71 ampere is greater than 15.23 amperes, our selected wire will fit the system. So, since mas mataas yung yung ampere nun is magpipit yung napili nating number 12 American gauge wire. So, yun. So, next naman tayo sa step 6. So, walang computation na magaganap dito, or sabihin natin wala tayong step 6 sa ginawa natin problem, because there's only 2 wires inside the conduit. This step cannot be bypassed. Pero, if there's 3 current carrying conductors, we can use the table 310.15b 3a. So, yun, the adjustment factors more than 3 control carrying conductors. Magagamit natin yun, yung step 6. So, we are proceeding to step 7. Adjustment due to voltage drop. Voltage drop na we can say 3%. So, use the formula. Ang makuha pala natin is 3% voltage drop. So, okay. VD is equal to 2IR. So, R is equal to K times L over A. So, you can solve this by 2 times 9.3 sa I, and then yung RK LA. Okay, 2 times 9.3 times 12.92 times 25 over 6,350. So makuha natin is 0.92 volt. So, yung voltage drop na yun, i-divide natin. 0.92 divide by 32.26 times natin sa 100 degrees. So, makuha natin is 2.85% or almost 3%. So, yun. Tapos kung ang gagamitin naman natin is yung 96.78, 0.92 over 96.78 times 100% is equal to 0.95%. So, since naman yung 2.85% is less than 3%, ang ating select na wire is the number 12. That wire is we will fit the system. So, okay. Next slide. But since 2.85 is a bit near to 3, it will be better to use number 10, American wire gauge THHN wire for addition safety factor and for future expansion. So, since malapit, yun nga, sabi ko kanina, yung 2.85 is estimated na sa 3, kaya better na i-use natin is yung number 10, THHN, for additional safety factor and future expansion. Kaya yung sinabi natin kanina, mas maganda talaga kung mas malaki yung wire na bibili natin. Pero, syempre, need pa rin natin ng computation para alam natin kung ano yung kailangan nating gamitin para nagamitin na wire para sa solar panel. So, kapag na-compute mo na yun, doon mo taasan, diba? dun mataas sa inyong dun mataas sa inyong bibilin mo na wire. Pag na-compute mo na, oh, mas okay pala to, ganun. So, next slide. On the previous problem, in case the voltage drop exceed 3%, let's say 5%, the additional computation is as follows. Since the initial wire is number 12, THHN, make 1 as the fire adjustment. Select initially number 10, THHN. So, kung gagamitin natin is 5%, okay, katulad ng kanina, 2 times 9.3 times 12.9 times 25, it will be equal to 0.058 volt. So, didivide naman natin siya, 0.058 divided by 32.26 times 100%, ang kakalabasan is 0.18%. Select number THHN as the final word to be used in the system. So, yun nga, kung tataasan natin yung percent, lalabas yun number 10, THHN na wire. So, next slide tayo. Note, K, or direct current constant, this is a constant representing the direct current resistance for a 1000 circular conductor. That's 1,000 feet long. At an operating temperature of 75 Celsius, the direct current constant value you should use for copper is 12.9 ohms and 29.2 ohms for aluminum conductors. The K constant is suitable for alternating current circuits where the conductors do not exceed the number 1 over 0. So, next slide, ito, merong mas madaling tinignan nung American wire gauge. So, mas madali siyang, kumbaga isang tinginan lang, malalaman mo na yung kailangan mong wire. But, syempre, as an electrical engineer, dapat alam din natin yung kung paano i-compute yung tamang wire na kailangan. Diba? O paano kung walang ganito, diba? Yung isang tinginan na lang na wire na kailangan natin. So, ito, suitable din to. Mas mapapadali kung nagmamadali ka, diba? Sa paggawa. So, meron tayong ganito.
Okay class, ngayon dito naman tayo sa tinatawag na circuit breaker sizing. So, ano-ano nga ba yung mga dapat isaalang-alang dito sa circuit breaker sizing? First thing to consider in sizing a CB for PB system is the ruling in PEC which state that PB circuit current is continuous. Thereby, the minimum OEPD rating is 125% of the maximum current. PEC 2017 Article 6.90.2.2b and Article 6.90.2.3b. Therefore, in reference to the problem in conductor sizing, on the DC side, the max current is 15.23 ampere. Multiply by 25%, that is 19.04 ampere. Use 20 ampere on circuit breaker. On the AC side, since the inverter rating is kilowatts, dividing this by 220 volts, the current will be 4.5 ampere. Multiply by 125%, that is 5.625 ampere. So, use 6 ampere circuit breaker RCBO in the AC side. This table is the standard amps ratings for fuses and inverse time circuit breakers. This is a table, standard ampere ratings in circuit breaker sizing. So, revisiting our number 10, THHN standard stranded wire ampacity at 30 degrees Celsius is equal to 40 amps. Correction due to the ambient temperature. So, times natin to sa 0.91. Yung 0.91 na yan, nakuha yan dun sa my table kanina. So, 40 times 0.91 is equal to 36.4 ampere. Correction due to roof wire distance, 37 plus 22 is equal to 59 degrees Celsius. So, 36.4 times 0.71 is equal to 25.48 ampere.
So, dito naman tayo sa next slide. Ang ating i-discuss dito sa next slide ay ang surge protection device sizing. So, kung marirecall nyo, yung surge protection device, ito yung device na nagpo-protect sa ating electronics sa mga sudden voltage spike. Kagaya ng pagtama ng kidlat sa solar panel na magkokos ng sudden voltage spike na makakasira sa mga naka-connect dito like inverter and other electronics. So, gagamit tayo ng surge protection device para ma-prevent yung sudden voltage spike. So, sa next slide, the rule is simple in sizing the surge protection device. Basically, the UC rating of the SPD should match the system voltage or a bit higher, 15% to 25% for SPDs to attain a longer lifespan. So, sa madaling salita, kailangan natin na medyo mataas yung rating ng ating SPD, 15% or 25% na much higher sa ating voltage. Kuwari, meron tayong 100 voltage rating. So, ano ba 25% nun? 25 din. So, kailangan natin ng SPD na 125 voltage para mas matagal yung lifespan ng ating SPD. So, therefore, in reference to the problem in conductor sizing, sa problem natin kanina, for the DC side, use SPD with UC rating of 100 voltage to 120 voltage. So, di ba? 100 voltage. So, dagdag ng 20% na sa voltage rating. And for AC side, use SPD with UC rating of 230 voltage to 275 voltage. So, yan. Ang taas ng tinas din nito, halos 20% plus. So, yun lang yung rule. Kung ano yung voltage ng system natin, voltage rating, dadagdagan lang natin ng 15 to 25% ng rating ng SPD para sa mas mataas na or mas matagal na lifespan. In the next slide, IN, nominal discharge current. In IMAX, maximum discharge current. UC, maximum continuous operating voltage, MCOV, and UP, voltage protection rating, VPR or surge voltage rating, SBR or clamping voltage. So, ito yung example picture ng gagamitin na surge protection device. So, sa unang picture, ito, AC surge protection device. Kasi, kung mapapansin nyo, meron tayong line at neutral. So, dito ipapasok yung line and neutral na wire. So, basically, yun ay AC na AC output ng inverter. So, ito yung ground. Isang screw na to, dito ilalagay ground. Itong dalawa na tong na surge protection device, line neutral, dito lumabas yung AC output ng inverter natin. So, sa next natin na picture, kung makikita nyo, may polarity itong surge protection device natin. So, positive and negative. Ibig sabihin lang nun, DC to. Direct current surge protection device. So, positive and negative na wire. And ganun din, meron din itong ground na lalagay sa ating surge protection device. So, yan lang yung dalawa na yun. Two types of SPD. AC and DC SPD.
Inverter sizing. Solar powered home grid type. For the inverter to fit the system, its power rating must be approximately equal to the power rating of the solar arrays, or maybe a bit greater of around 10 to 20%. So, ang inverter daw, yung system, ay nagre-rate daw siya approximately equal daw siya sa power rating ng solar arrays, or maybe mas mataas pa, around 10 to 20%. Therefore, if your solar system is rated at 2,000 watts, you'll need a solar inverter that is about 2,000 watts. So, parang 1:1. If need mo ng 1 watts, need mo rin ng 1 watts. Parang ganun lang sa inverter tsaka sa solar. An inverter that is way below the power rating of solar arrays cannot maximize the power that the solar arrays are capable of. And an inverter that is way above the power rating of solar arrays will have a noticeable drop in efficiency. So, yung inverter daw is way below the power rating of solar arrays, and hindi daw siya na ma-maximize yung power. Solar arrays daw ay capable daw doon. And an inverter that is way above the power rating of solar arrays will have a noticeable drop in efficiency. So, yung inverter daw ay may way above power rating kaysa sa solar arrays. In our example, which is rated at around 2,000 watts, 200 times 1.1 equals 990. Use 1 kilowatt grid time inverter. So, yun. Lagi siyang times 1.1. So, this is the converting. Okay, converting ng solar power.
Okay, so ngayon, dadako naman tayo guys sa may solar panel orientation. Okay, so paano nga ba ipinapakat yung solar panel natin sa bubong? Ay, hindi paano eh. Ano nga ba yung itsura ng solar panels natin sa bubong? Okay, so ano ba dapat yung hinaharap niya, kung saan siya nakaharap? Ano ba yung angle niya, yung may inclination ba siya, gaano ka-incline? Okay, so ano yung pagka-tilt dapat sa may solar panel to achieve the maximum efficiency? Okay, so yun naman yung pinaka-goal nitong orientation ng solar panel, para i-maximize yung efficiency ng solar panel, or i-maximize yung napuproduce niya na power. Okay? So, meron tayong general rules dyan, guys. Ang sabi dyan sa general rules natin is yung tilting angle, or yung angle dapat ng solar panel mo pag inilagay mo sa bubong, o diba dapat incline dyan, is dapat proportional or naka-base or kinu-consider dapat yung geographical altitude ng location. Okay? So, asan nga ba yung location mo? Okay? So, kung asa Pilipinas ka, di ba, northern part yon ng hemisphere kasi equator, and asa taas yung Pilipinas. Ibig sabihin, northern part. Ibig sabihin, the solar panel should be facing south. Bakit? Kasi yung equator mo sa baba, andun yung araw sa equator, right? And since nasa taas yung bahay mo, ibig sabihin dapat naka-face sa south yung solar panel mo. Okay, so that's the general rule. Kung maglalagay ka ng solar panel, ang dapat mong i-consider is yung geographical altitude, geographical location ng iyong bahay, and also the angle. And kung hindi ako nagkakamali, kapag nasa Pilipinas ka guys, ang tilting angle dapat is 12 degrees facing south. Okay, 12 degrees, syempre, then yung solar panel mo is facing south. Okay, so meron tayong dalawang hemisphere, right? We have the northern hemisphere, which is above the equator, and the southern hemisphere, which is located below the equator. Okay? Kapag nasa northern hemisphere ka guys, like kapag nasa Pilipinas ka, nasa Japan, nasa China, Korea, okay? So, di ba, above the equator yan. Dapat, kapag maglalagay ka ng solar panel, kung meron mang bahay na located any of those countries, dapat yung solar panel mo daw is facing south. Dapat yung harap nung solar panel mo is nag-face sa south part ng globo. Okay? So, for example, this is the Philippines. Diba? Example ko kanina. Ito yung Pilipinas, ito yung equator. We all know that the sun is rotating in the equator mismo. Okay? So, andito yung araw. For example, this is the equator, this is the Philippines, or yung bahay sa Pilipinas, andito yung araw. Ngayon, kung maglalagay ka ng solar panel, since andito yung araw sa tapat ng equator, asa baba, dapat, kung ito yung solar panel mo, mag-face sa south yan. Bakit? Siyempre, para masagap niya yung sinag ng araw. O, di ba? Pag i-face mo yan, or nilagay mo yung orientation niya is facing north, ganyan, anong sasagapin yan? Ang tatama ng araw is yung hindi yung sasagap ng araw, okay? So, dapat kapag nasa northern hemisphere yung location mo o yung bahay na lalagyan mo ng solar panels, dapat the solar panels is facing south. Yan. Bakit? To maximize, of course, the efficiency para ma-maximize yung pagsagap yun ng energy from the sun, and that should cause, of course, ng maximization or ma-maximize niya yung ipuproduce na power. Okay? And kabaligtaran niya naman, syempre, kung nasa may southern part ka naman, southern hemisphere, ibig sabihin, ito yung equator mo, yung location ng paglalagyan mo ng panel is nasa baba. Okay? Kung nasa baba yan, since andito yung araw, kung maglalagay ka ng solar panel dito, sa bahay dito sa southern part hemisphere, okay, so dapat facing north naman yung solar panels mo para masagap niya yung araw and to have a maximum efficiency. Okay. So, ganun dapat guys yung orientation ng ating solar panels. Every time na mag-install tayo, dapat nakukonsider daw yung geographical altitude and location noong bahay. Okay. So, now, let's move on naman sa may sinasabi nila guys na zero bill. Ano ba yung zero bill na yan? Okay, so simple lang, pag sinabi natin zero bill, ibig sabihin, yung bahay, isang bahay na may photovoltaic system is wala na siyang binabayaran na electricity bill. Wala na siyang binabayaran kay Celcor, kay NECO, kay Meralco, or any cooperatives. Wala na siyang binabayaran kasi yung consumption ng bahay niya is equal doon sa may pinuproduce na power or sinusupply sa kanya ng photovoltaic system na ininstall niya sa kanyang bahay. Okay? Kasi kapag equal na syempre yung consumption mo sa may pinoproduce ng photovoltaic system or solar panels mo, syempre wala ka nang kukunin sa grid. Ano pa yung i-reading nilang bill mo kung sakali? Okay? That's zero billing. Okay? Paano nga ba natin i-a-attain itong zero billing? Paano natin malalaman kung ilang solar panels ang ikakabit natin sa isang bahay? Okay? So, 'di ba may nabanggit na ako kanina na to attain zero billing dapat equal yung consumption ng bahay in terms of wattage, kilowatt-hour, doon sa may ipinuproduce ng ating solar panel or photovoltaic system. Dapat mag-equal yan. Okay, so how can we know the number of panels? Okay, merong computation dito guys. May example. For example, si Pedro ay meron siyang bahay. Okay, at yung average niya na billing every month, okay, o rating nung billing niya every month is 300 kilowatt-hour per month. Okay, so yun yung nakukonsumo niya kada oras sa loob ng isang buwan. Okay, ngayon, paano natin malalaman kung ilang solar panel? Okay, una, i-divide muna natin sa araw yung 30 months na yan, 30 days na yan, or yung 300 kilowatt-hour per month na yan, gawin natin yung ratings niya from or per day, sorry. Okay, so 300 kilowatt-hour, since per month yan, how many days in a month? We have 30 days. Okay, divide natin 300 kilowatt-hour per month into 30 days. Okay, so cancel si month. Magkakaroon ka ngayon ng 10 kilowatt-hour per day. O, di ba? Yun yung ratings mo na every day. Ngayon, 10 kilowatt-hour is equivalent to 10,000 watt-hour. Okay? So, yung ratings mo every hour in a day. Ngayon, sa isang araw, sa Pilipinas kasi guys, 5 oras yung average na oras na kung saan yung sunlight ay nasa peak o kumbaga maximize yung sunlight. 5 oras. Yun ay sa Pilipinas. Ewan lang sa ibang bansa. So, ibig sabihin, sa loob ng isang araw sa Pilipinas, 5 oras yung maximum ang efficiency ng solar panels natin. Okay? So, since meron tayong 10,000 watt-hour per day, so i-divide natin ngayon yan ng 5 hours. Since yun yung ratings ng maximize yung sunlight natin, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng approximately 2,000 watts, not approximately, sakto pala, 2,000 watts na rating. Okay? So, yung nakukonsumo everyday noong ating bahay. Okay, so paano tatapatan yan ng ating solar panels? Okay, so ang solar panel natin guys, mostly na solar panels, merong ratings yan na or napoproduce na power output every single panel na 300 or 250 to 350 watts. Yun yung mga common lang. Okay, so meron pa namang mas malalaki pero yun yung mga common. Okay, so sabihin na natin, ang average nun is 300 watts per panel. Okay, so that's 300 watts. Ngayon, yung 2,000 watts kanina, yun ay sakto na ratings ng ating bahay everyday. Okay, so sakto lang yun. Ngayon, para maiwasan natin, kasi pwede magkaroon ng errors yan guys, is magdagdag na lang tayo ng 10% pa para masabi natin na hindi kulang yung assumption natin ng konsumo ng bahay. Okay, so ang 10% ng 2,000 is 200. So everyday, nagkakaroon ng konsumo na 2,200 watts. Okay? So, kung yung solar panel mo is may rating na 300 watts, ilang solar panel ang kailangan para mag-produce ng 2,200 watts? Simple lang. I-divide mo guys yung 2,200 doon sa 300 watts na capacity or solar panel na may capacity 300 watts. Okay? So, 2,200 divide 300 is equivalent to 7.33. Ibig sabihin, yung bilang ng solar panel na kailangan mo to produce or to attain the zero billing. Kasi kapag meron kang 7.33 na solar panels, is magpuproduce yun ng equal na power doon sa may kinukonsumo ng bahay mo. Ibig sabihin, wala ka nang kukunin sa grid, okay? So, since 7.33 yan, wala namang 0.33 na solar panel na bilang solar panel, di ba? So, magiging approximate 8 yan. Ibig sabihin, yung bahay ni Pedro na may konsumong 300 kWh per month is magkaka-attain ng zero billing kung maglalagay siya ng solar panel, 8 solar panel sa kanyang bahay na may rating or merong power output each na 300 watts. Okay? So, ganun guys, malalaman kung paano natin i-aatin tong zero billing kung ilang panel yung ikakabit natin sa bahay. Okay? So, actually, meron ding instances na aside from zero billing, kikita ka pa. Okay? For example, dito kay Pedro. Si Pedro, instead of installing 8 solar panels, nag-install siya ngayon ng 12. Okay? So, kung mag-i-install pa siya ng additional 4 solar panels, okay? So, that should be, sabihin na natin 11 na lang, 11 solar panels. Okay? So, kung i-install siya ng 11 solar panels, merong, how many? 3 solar panels na sobra. Okay? Kasi yung 8 pa lang sapat na para sa consumption ng bahay niya. Ibig sabihin, yung ipoproduce ng 3 solar panel na which is 900 watts. Papasok ngayon yun doon sa may grid natin. Pupunta sa grid, okay? So, zero billing na nga si Pedro. Meron pa siyang kikitahin doon sa may 900 watts na papasok sa may grid ngayon, okay? So, yung sobra na yon is babayaran sa kanya ng grid. Di ba? Zero billing and may instances din nakikita ka pa dahil meron kang photovoltaic system. Okay? So, yun lang guys. Doon natin malalaman kung ilang panels ang kakabit to attain the zero billing. Yan.
So, in this segment of the video, we're going to try making and planning our own solar-powered home grid tied. So, sa madaling salita, susubukan natin gumawa ng sarili nating solar panel home or susubukan natin mag-install ng solar panel home through virtually and examples. So, yung napili natin na example na bahay ay bahay namin. So, lalagyan natin ng solar panel power or solar powered na grid tied. So, ang una nating gagawin para sa installation ng solar panel, i-consider natin yung location. Sa location, i-consider natin yung place, temperature, season, weather, surroundings. So pupunta tayo sa Google Map para makita kung ano exact na location. So, The Philippines is one of the countries in Southeast Asia that experiences intense heat due to pollution and other contributing factors. Similarly, like other countries and regions, the Philippines is now also using renewable energy as a source of electricity. One of these sources is the solar power system, also known as the photovoltaic system. So, isa sa mga lugar sa Pilipinas ay ang Aliaga City. Ang Aliaga ay isang bayan sa lalawigan ng Nueva Ecija, matatagpuan sa rehiyon ng Central Luzon. Sa Aliaga City, this is a town in Nueva Ecija under the jurisdiction of Nueva Ecija Electric Cooperative, so NECO. One of the well-known grid cooperatives in Luzon. Like other cooperatives, NECO supplies electricity to households and charges the corresponding fees, commonly known as electric bill. Because of this, one of the alternatives for households today is to install renewable energy source in order to reduce their electricity expenses, and in some cases, even eliminate their dependence on the grid entirely. So, sa madaling salita, gumagamit na ngayon ng renewable energy yung ibang mga bahay or ibang mga household para malesen yung electric bills kasi sobrang taas. Ine-help nito na babaan yung monthly na cost sa electric bill. So, hindi nilang basta-basta nagkakabit. Ayon sa Renewable Energy Act of 2008, maaaring mag-apply ang mga kabahayan para sa net metering, kung saan ang sobrang kuryente mula sa solar system ay maaaring export sa grid bilang bawas sa kanilang electric bill. So, di ba? Di lang kasimple-simple na maglalagay ka ng pila. So, dapat ipaalam mo ito sa cooperatives na nagbibigay sa inyo ng kuryente. Mag-apply ka sa net metering. So, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, babawasan na nila yung mga bill sa kuryente mo kasi nagpo-produce ka ng sarili mo kuryente gamit yung solar panel. So, ang maganda pa rito, pag sumobra yung pag-produce mo or yung nagagamit mo, example, sapat na yung nagagamit mo na kuryente, pero may sobra. Ibig sabihin, grid tied ka, babalik yon sa grid, sa mga linya ng kuryente. Pupunta yun sa ibang bahay. So, kailangan mo lagyan ng net metering or another na metro na magsusukat kung ilan yung binabalik mo sa grid tied para babayaran ka ng NECO. So, di ba, ikaw pa yung kumita sa uli. Kung di mo lang naman magagamit lahat ng voltage or watts na pinoprovide ng solar panel mo. So, due to the intense heat experienced in areas of the Philippines like Aliaga City, one of the most common renewable energy source is the solar power system, a type of power generator that uses sunlight to produce electricity. This electricity is then used by household for their daily consumption. One type of photovoltaic system connection is the grid-tied system. So this type of system is connected directly to the utility grid, which helps reduce the electricity drawn from the grid by the household, or in some cases, completely replaces it with the power generated by the photovoltaic system. So, yun nga yung sinabi ko kanina. Magbibigay ng kuryente yung solar panel, so wala ka na mabayaran sa NECO. Minsan may sosobra pang bibigay yung solar panel mo, yung NECO pa magbabayad sa'yo. So, may later on sa mga discussion sa installation natin, pabanggitin natin kung paano i-process na yun. So, para i-illustrate sa inyo kung paano gumana ang grid-tied photovoltaic system, yung grupo namin ay magpapresent ng sample connection sa isang bahay na matatagpuan sa Aliaga City. So, which is yung bahay namin. Ipapakita namin kung paano yung installation from start to end. So, ang location ng sample house ay matatagpuan sa Barangay Pantok, Aliaga, Nueva Ecija, na matatagpuan ito malapit sa daan papuntang Laborisima. So, Pantok, Aliaga, Nueva Ecija, malapit sa Laborisima. So, isa pa rito, ang Pilipinas ay may average solar irradiance na 4.5 hanggang 5.5 kWh per square meter. So, kada araw, yun yung nagagamit sa Pilipinas average. So, kaya't isa ito sa mga bansa sa Southeast Asia na ideal para sa solar power generation. So, keep that information in mind. So, yung bahay na example namin, which is bahay namin, ay masasabi na perfect in terms of installing photovoltaic system. Dahil walang masyadong nakaharang sa paligid. So, walang masyadong puno na mag-focus ng shadings, di ba? So, masasabing sa buong maghapon ay masisinagan ito ng araw. In short, we can make sure na maximize ang ipoproduce nitong power. So, every summer, especially this summer, ang Aliaga City ay nakakaranas ng 90 to 100 Fahrenheit. At sinasabi na every 3 p.m. ay pumapalo ito ng 101 Fahrenheit na masasabing kabilang sa hot category dito sa Pilipinas. So, may dalawa tayong season, hot and wet. So, sa hot season, so napaka-init talaga sa Pilipinas. Dry na dry talaga rito. So, wala kang makikitang ulan. Uulan man, konti lang. Pero mainit pa rin. Sinag na sinag yung araw. So, ideal ito sa pagpapagawa ng solar panel. So, sa dry season, mula Nobyembre hanggang Mayo ito, yung mga solar panel natin ay napakalakas nila magbigay ng energy dahil sa sun hours. Mahaba yung sun hours nito. Pero wala naman tayong dapat ikabahala pagtungtong ng June to Oktubre. Kasi may araw pa rin naman, hindi naman lagi ay maulap sa Pilipinas. Kasi napakainit talaga rito. Bihira lang talaga na umulan. Pag umulan man, sunod-sunod yun from June, July, September, October. So, hindi masyado maepektuhan yung solar panel natin. So, pag umulan nga, wala pang kuryente. So, yung solar panel natin, magagamit natin. Kuwari, mawalan ng kuryente 10 araw dahil sa bagyo. Kung okay pa yung solar panel natin, magagamit natin. So, pagdating ng November and December, so medyo malamig na rito. Medyo makulimlim na. Pero may araw pa rin. Hindi ibig sabihin nito, hindi natin magagamit yung solar panel or solar power natin sa bahay natin. Ang ibig sabihin lang nito, hihina lang yung efficiency niya or yung pag-produce niya ng watts per hour. So, yun nga, sa sidetrack na yun, so mga sinabi ko na yun, mas madami yung sinag ng araw kaysa sa makulimlim dito sa Pilipinas. So, dahil dito, ideal na lagyan ito ng photovoltaic system as alternative sa daily consumption ng bahay.
Presentation of house, square meter, how much consumption. So, ayan, nakikita yung bahay. So, ang bahay na lalagyan ng photovoltaic system ay may 4 na kwarto. So, yung bahay daw na yun is may 4 na kwarto. Ang bahay na ito ay may lawak na approximately 116.25 square meters. So, yung lawak daw ng bahay is 116.25 square meters. At sa loob nito ay may mga mabibigat na appliances na makikita. So, yun. 4 yung kwarto, so matik, 4 na rin yung air condition. May ref, water dispenser. So, hindi na mawawala yung ref at water dispenser na masasabing malakas pagdating sa consumption of electricity. Alam naman natin na yung kuryente na kailangan ng aircon, ref, at water dispenser ay malakas kumuha ng electricity or ng kuryente. So, every month, ang bahay na ito ay may nako-consume na approximately or average of 610 kilowatts na naka-base sa normal billing price ng NECO. So, yung bahay daw na to ay nagko-consume every month or buwan ba ng 610 kilowatts na kuryente. And dun sila sa NECO. So, yun, normal billing ng price sa NECO. So, yun. Yung bahay na to ay may 4 na kwarto at may 4 na air condition. So, pag nalaman naman natin or pag nakita natin, yun is alam naman agad natin na malakas ito sa kuryente. Sa aircon pa lang, di ba? Tsaka sa ref. Grabe na mag-produce ng kuryente. So, yun.
Computation on how many solar panels and etc. to attain the maximum minimization sa electric consumption ng bahay we consider the average consumption ng bahay, which is 610 kilowatts per hour. At using the zero bin formula, nalaman namin na need ng 16 solar panel na may rating na 300 watt each para masabi na using the installed photovoltaic system ay wala nang babayarang electric bill sa grid. To further understand kung paano nag-come up sa 16 panel, subukan natin isolve ito gamit ang average monthly consumption. Ang nasabing bahay ay may average na 610 kilowatts per hour monthly consumption. To know the daily consumption, just divide the monthly rating into 30 days. It will have a 20.33 kilowatts per hour per day. And sa Pilipinas, ayon sa mga eksperto, 5 oras ang tinatagal na kung saan masasabing ang sinag ng araw ay nasa peak or pinaka mataas. In short, ang rating ng mga solar panel ay during those hours na nasa peak din. Using that reference, we will know the need rating ng solar panels natin to produce the same rating na need ng bahay. Using the 20.33 kilowatts per hour per day, multiply natin ito sa 1 day per 5 hours. Magkakaroon ito ng total of 4.06 kilowatts na rating, equivalent in 4,060 watts. Para measure na hindi ko kulangin ang calculation dahil sa mga error, mabuti na magdagdag ng 10% sa buuan na rating. Ngayon, meron na tayong total of 4,466 watts na rating. Para malaman ang bilang ng solar panel na kailangan, we just need to divide the computed rating na bahay sa rating ng isang solar panel. Since we will be using a J solar panel, the output power per panel is 300 watts. Therefore, 4,466 divided 300, it will produce a quotient of 14.89. Wala namang 0.89 na panel, so it can be just 15 solar panel. Para maiwasan ng errors, meaning baka kulangin ang 15 solar panel, nag-come up na gumamit ng 16 solar panel na lang para sigurado na may maintain ang zero billing. Base sa mga factors and considerations, ang mga sumusunod ay siyang ginagamit within the installation ng system. And first, number 1, the solar panel. Ang gagamitin na solar panel ng system ay J solar panel na may rating na 300 watts each. Also, this has a maximum voltage rating of 32.26 volts and maximum current rating of 9.3 amperes. Kagaya ng nabanggit kanina, we will be using a 16 solar panels. Para sa system, we will be using this brand of solar panels kasi aside from the budget friendly, siya ay masasabi rin na quality. And the second is the inverter. Another materials na need sa system ay ang inverter. One of the most important component dahil ito ang nagko-convert ng DC output ng solar panel into AC para magamit sa ating mga bahay. Ang gagamitin na brand ng inverter ay ang Growatt 5000 TLX. Dahil tested na ang quality ng inverter na ito. Also, considering the daily needs consumption, which is 4,466 watts. Kaya naman we decided na the inverter must have at least 5,000 watts rating para kayanin ang output coming from the panel. And syempre, the inverter is a grid-tied inverter since we will implement a grid-tied photovoltaic system. And lastly, this inverter don't need a require extra time, delay switch, and programmable time. And the third one is the DC circuit breaker and AC circuit breaker. In choosing circuit breaker, inalam muna namin kung ano ang dapat na rating na gamit o dapat gamitin. And the first thing na dapat i-consider sa pagpili ng rating is ruling a PEC, which state the PV circuit current is continuous and dapat raw na minimum OCPD rating is 125% of the maximum current. Ngayon, paano ba natin malalaman ang max current ng PV system that will be installed? And this is the explanation for the formula. Para malaman natin ang maximum current, na i-install sa system, need natin gumamit ng formula. Una, we need to know the ISC rating ng solar panel. Since J solar panel ang gagamitin, the ISC rating ay 9.75 amperes. Hindi pa yan ang maximum current na dadaloy sa system. Since yan ang rating ng isang J solar based sa normal condition. So, to ensure the current rating talaga is we need to consider two factors, which are the irradiance and the continuous duty, kung saan sila yung factors na kayang pataasin pa yung current sa system. Kaya naman we will multiply the ISC rating nito sa 1.25. Para sa irradiance naman, irradiance factor ay another multiplication of 1.25 para naman sa continuous duty, since ang dalawang factor ay kayang pataasin ang ISC rating ng 25%. By doing so, makikita natin na ang maximum current na maaaring dumaloy sa system is 15.23 amperes. Now that we know the max current in a system already, pwede na natin alamin kung ano ang rating ng circuit breaker na kailangan sa DC side. We just need to multiply the maximum current into 125% kasi need na mas mataas ang rating ng circuit breaker sa maximum rating of the system ng at least 25%. So by doing so, the product of 19.4 amperes based sa kinalabasan, nag-come up kami na ang gagamitin na DC circuit breaker ay ang may rating na at least 20 amps to support the DC side of the photovoltaic system. Additionally, since the approximately 5,000 watts ang rating ng buong system, to know the rating of AC circuit breaker na need, we just divide the power rating of the voltage rating ng grid, which is commonly 220 volts. 5,000 divided by 220 is equal to 22.73 amps. Therefore, we will use at least an AC circuit breaker na may rating na 25 amps to support the loading in AC side ng system. Also, the AC circuit breaker of RCBO type. In choosing the SPD, kinukonsidera namin na ang rating nito, which is dapat tugma o hindi ganun kalayo ang rating niya sa voltage rating ng system. We consider the allowable higher gap ng rating ng SPD sa rating ng system, which is 15 to 25% lang.
Number 4, the DC SPD or the surge protection device. Dito naman, sa pag-compute ng needed natin DC SPD rating. So, voltage at DC side of the system is equal to solar panel maximum voltage times number of panels, which is meron tayong 32.26 maximum voltage rating, times natin sa 16 because yun yung number of panels natin. So, magkakaroon tayo ng 516.16 volts. Number 5, the AC SPD. Since the voltage of the AC side of the system is also the voltage rating of the grid, which is 230 volts, the AC SPD must be rated 230 up to a little bit higher. So the explanation sa computation above is to prolong the lifespan of the system, dapat ang SPD rating system ay hindi nagkakalayo sa voltage rating ng system mismo sa DC side. Since we will use 16 gas solar panels and connected in series, the total voltage will be the summation ng lahat ng voltage rating ng bawat isa. And isang gas solar panel na 300 watts ang output power, ang voltage rating nito ay 32.26, which is the maximum. Therefore, the total voltage rating sa DC side ng system ay 32.26 times 16, having a product of 516.16 volts. Kaya naman, ang gagamitin namin na DC SPD ay may rating na in between 500 to 550 volts. So, sa AC side naman, since commonly 230 volts ang rating ng grid, ang AC SPD na gagamitin ay may rating in between 230 to 275 volts. With this consideration and computation, ma-assure na ang system ay mas tatagal since hindi nagkakalayo ang rating ng mga SPDs sa actual rating ng system. 6. The wires. The sample system will use a thermoplastic, high heat resistant, nylon coated wire or the THHN wire. Dahil aside from friendly ito in terms of price, it's fit for photovoltaic system as it can endure hot temperatures. Para malaman kung anong size ng wire ang gagamitin, we use the steps of calculation. So there are steps in knowing what is the appropriate wire size for the system. We will be using the IC rating for the solar panel. Since it's just solar, the rating is 9.75, and when the radiance and continuous duty is considered, the new SC is now 15.25 amps. Based on the table 310.15b2a, the number 14 THNN is already fit for the function. Since it has a capacity of 25 amps, but it is inappropriate to use just wire size in photovoltaic system, so it is likely to use number 12 THHN wire. Ang capacity na nito ay 30 amps sa normal na temperature, which is 30 Celsius. To avoid error, i-consider natin ang ambient temperature sa Pilipinas, which is 37 Celsius. According to the table 310.15b2a, the 37 Celsius will be multiplied to 0.91, producing a new ampacity of 27 amps. Next is, we need to consider the ambient temperature. Dahil sa init na dulot ng bubong, let's say na yung series natin ay 1/2 inch above the roof. According to the table, 22 Celsius will be added to the ambient temperature in the Philippines. It will be have sum of 59 Celsius. And ayon sa kaparehang table, the multiplier is 0.71. Kaya naman, the new ampacity, which is 19.17 amps, will be the ampacity of the number 12 wire size. Since higher pa rin ang ampacity ng system, it is safe for usage, but we need to consider one more thing. The possible voltage drop. The voltage drop of the wire should be less than 3%. Now let's see. The formula of the voltage drop is multiplied with the current and resistance and the system. They should be 2 times 9.3 times 12.9 times 25 over 6,530, which will produce a 0.92 volt. And for the percent of voltage drop, we use the voltage drop of 0.92 divided the voltage rating, which is 32.26. Ngayon may 0.0285 times 100. Ngayon, may 2.85% na ng voltage drop. And since mas maliit ito sa 3%, the number 12 wire THHN is still good for usage in the system. Pero para masigurado na walang palya ang system, we will be using number 10 wire size THHN. Magagamit ito para mas safe ang system at kung sakali man na magpapadagdag ng kagamitan o load someday, it won't affect the system since may allowance na ang capacity of the wires.
So, in this part of installation video, pag-uusapan natin yung mounting of solar panel. So, yung Pilipinas may dalawang season lang, dry and wet season. So, sa wet season, mahina yung efficiency ng solar panel. So, kailangan siyang i-adjust ng i-adjust. So, malay natin, araw-araw magbago yung panahon. Maaraw, makulimlim, maaraw, makulimlim. So, hindi naman lagi dapat isa lang yung angle. So, sa installation video to, magdadagdag tayo ng isa pang part para ma-maximize natin yung angle ng solar panels natin. So, from what I have read, yung ideal na angle ng solar panel natin is 15 degrees. Para hindi natin siya kailangan i-adjust every season. Every dry season, every wet season, Christmas, hindi natin siya kailangan i-adjust. Bali, ang kailangan natin doon, 15 degrees yung tilt niya. So, mag-a-add tayo ng parang special type ng L-put. So, ang special type ng L-put na to, tinatawag siya na tilt bracket. Yung tilt bracket, siya yung maglalagay ng angle or mag-a-adjust ng angle sa mga solar panels natin para 15 degrees siya kahit flat surface. Kuwari ito yung garahe ng bahay namin. So flat yung surface niya. So ganyan magiging orientation ng solar panel natin pag nilagay siya sa tilt bracket. So sa tilt bracket na yon, nakakonekta to sa tilt bar. So yun nga, nakakonect na yung tilt bracket sa tilt bar para isang mahabang tilt lang sa solar panel. So i-connect na to sa L put, mid put, end clamp. Sa mga mid clamp, kukonect na natin yung mga solar panel. So yun lang naman nadagdag sa mounting ng solar panel natin. So sa mga normal na solar panel, ilalagay lang natin yung rails and mga panels. So let's discuss the flow kung paano natin ilalagay yung solar panel sa bubong. So using the basic components, ilalagay sa bubong ang mga solar panels. Since 16 solar panels ang magagamit sa photovoltaic system, 6 pairs of solar rails ang gagamitin to mount the panels. Para itayo at i-fix ang mga rails, gagamit ng mga L-puts. So 4 na pares ng rails. 3 panels ang ilalagay, so bali magkakaroon ng 4 pairs ng rails na tig-tatlong solar panels bawat pares. So, at 2 pares ng rails na may mas malaking sukat naman ang lalagyan ng tig-2 panel. So, ang mga ito ay iipit ng mga end clamps sa bawat dulo at didiin naman ng mga mid clamp ang bawat pagitan. And sa bandang garahe, since kasya ang 5 solar panel, sa isang hileran ay maglalagay tayo ng isang pares na may 3 solar panel at isang pares na may 2 solar panel. So lahat ng ito, may dugtong ito hindi natin kailangan ng mas mahabang solar rail. So dudugtungan ito ng rail connectors, yung mga rails para pa-connect siya. Lalagyan natin siya ng rail connectors. As a common connection, ang 16 solar panel will be connected in series, maintaining the current and maximizing the voltage, and magpo-produce ng same na pinagsama-samang power output from each panel. The said connection will provide a single positive and negative terminal, and the total output of the 16 solar panels.
Okay, so ngayon, punta naman tayo guys sa kung paano namin inilagay yung mga components ng ating PV system sa buong bahay. Okay, so andyan na yung mga solar panels, DC circuit breakers, inverters, at iba pa. So, saan ba namin siya inilagay? Paano yung pagkakalagay? Saan namin idaan yung mga dapat idaan? And bakit doon namin inilagay? Okay, so ngayon, ipapaliwanag namin sa inyo guys kung bakit doon namin inilagay yung mga components na iyon. Okay, so una, punta muna tayo dito guys sa may ating solar panels. Tignan natin itong top view ng ating solar panels. Okay, so from previous video or yung sinabi kanina, ang kinonsider namin na number of solar panels is 16 solar panels, and these are just solars. Just solars na kung saan each solar panel ay merong rating na 300 watts isa. Okay? So 16 yan. Actually 15 lang yan. Pero para maiwasan yung errors, para maiwasan na baka kulangin, nagdagdag pa kami ng isang solar panel. Kaya nag-come up kami na 16 solar panels yung ilagay. Ayan. Okay. So kung titignan natin, dito sa may bandang to, yung nasa baba, merong 10 solar panel yan. Actually, that part of the house is the garage. Okay? So flat surface lang yan. Kasya yung 10. So, dyan namin inilagay yung 10 solar panels. And yung natitirang 6, inilagay namin sa may karatig na bubungan, yung nasa taas niyan, dyan namin inilagay yung 6 pa. Okay, so those are 16 solar panels. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo, ang bawat solar panel, syempre merong positive at negative terminal yan. May positive wire, negative wire yan. Okay, so as usual, kagaya ng ginagawa ng iba, ang connection na ginawa rin namin sa 16 solar panels na yan to produce power is series connection. Ibig sabihin, lahat yan, naka-series yan, yung 16 solar panels na yan. Paano nga ba yung series connection? Series connection, just simply, we did connect the positive terminal of the other panel to the negative terminal of the another panel. Okay, so positive kinonect sa negative, consecutively yan, magkakasunod hanggang sa may connect namin lahat. Okay, so ang pinang-connect pala namin to every connections from sa pagitan ng mga solar panels na yan is MC4. MC4 is just a plug, a male plug and a female plug. Okay, yun yung ginamit namin connection dyan para mas secure. Okay, and then kung mapapansin nyo, yung mga black wires na yan na nakakonekta sa mga set of solar panels namin, yan ang indication ng wire na they are connected in series. Okay? Yun yung connection nila, kaya umikot yan. And then, kung mapapansin nyo sa bandang taas, meron tayong yellow wire. Okay, yung yellow wire na yan, that symbolizes or signifies the positive terminal or positive output ng ating 16 solar panels. Yun yung positive wire na ng output. So, dyan siya dumaan sa taas, which is dumaan sa may edge ng bubong and bumaba papunta dun sa corner na yun. Yung corner na yun, actually, yun na yung tapat ng main door natin. Bakit dyan idinaan yung positive wire na yan sa may edge na yan? Okay, so, first of all, ang pinaka-consideration kung bakit yan dinaan is para hindi mababad sa tubig. Actually, di ba, pwedeng idaan mas maganda sa mga diretsyon ganun or anywhere. Pero dyan namin idinaan kasi edge siya na ganyan. So, kapag dito mo nilagyan, ibig sabihin, pag umulan, is dadaos yung tubig, hindi siya mabababad. Okay, so kung inilagay mo yan sa may dugtungan ng yero, for example, yung ganito, pag dito mo inilagay yan, okay, pag dito mo inilagay, pag umulan, maaagusan yan, magde-degrade yung wire natin. May chance na mas madali pang masira yung ating wires. Okay, so masisira yung system. Kaya dyan namin siya dinaan. And then, kung mapapansin nyo sa lower part, left side, meron tayong green wire dyan. Okay, so that green wire signifies the negative terminal or negative wire, negative output ng ating 16 solar panels. Okay, so yan, dumaan sa gilid, tapos dumaan sa gilid na pa ganun, papunta dun sa may yellow din na yun, which is papunta sa may tapat or malapit sa main door ng ating sample na bahay. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo din sa baba, meron dyang wire na pumaganon na may konti-konting grid na ganun, right? Yun yung indication naman namin, or that is simply the grounding system of the 16 solar panels. So yung grounding system na yan connected sa ground. Okay, so bakit nga ba namin dito inilagay sa may garage part tapos karatig na bumungan yung ating solar panels? Okay, simple lang guys yung consideration na kinonsider namin sa paglagay dyan. Kasi, yung part ng bahay na yan, yung garahe na yan, at yung karating na bubungan na yan is actually located as the south part of the house. Okay, yung bahay na yan, yun yung south part ng bahay. And bakit sa south part nilalagay ang mga solar panels? Okay, so balikan natin guys yung explanation from previous videos. Kaya sa south nilalagay yung mga solar panel kapag nasa Pilipinas is because dito sa part na to, yung part na to or yung part ng bahay na to, dito yung naaarawan from the morning until the afternoon. Okay, south part. Kasi ang Pilipinas guys, it is located sa taas ng equator, and alam natin yung araw is nasa equator. Ibig sabihin, yung sinag ng araw is pa ganon. Ibig sabihin sa south part siya nagsisimulang sumikat. So kapag umikot na yung globo or yung araw kako sana, ang nasisinagan niyang ng maghapon is yung south part. Kapag sa west, east or north part na yan, northern part ng bahay mo inilagay, merong mga time or part ng araw or nung throughout the day, merong mga times na hindi na nasisinagan yan. Sa south part, mula pagsikat hanggang paglubog ng araw, nasisinagan. Kaya dyan inilalagay. Okay? So, yun yung consideration namin kung bakit namin inilagay dyan solar panels. And then, another reason is that, okay, yun lang pala. Dahil dyan yung south part and dyan yung naarawan mula pagtaas ng araw hanggang paglubog. Okay, so yan guys, yung pagkakahulman ng mga solar panels sa taas, pati yung connection, yung ginapangan ng wires, yan na yun mismo. Okay? Now, let's move naman sa may tilting angle ng ating mga solar panels. Okay, actually dito sa illustration natin guys, may kunti lang na error. Kasi, ang kinonsider namin dito na tilting angle talaga is 15 degrees. Kasi according to the map or according to the latitude kakasana ng Pilipinas, kasi ang Pilipinas nga diba nabanggit ko kanina sa taas ng equator, so dapat yung solar panels is facing south, and yung inclination mula sa inclination ng solar panel, kasi kinonsider yung layo nung Pilipinas sa equator, dapat daw 15 degrees yung inclination ng solar panels mo na facing south para ma-maximize yung efficiency. Kaya ang ginamit namin na inclination dyan is 15 degrees. Dyan sa garahe guys, yung inilagay namin solar panels dyan, since flat surface yung bubungan ng garahe, naka 15 degrees inclination yan. And yung karatig niya naman na bubungan na may nilagay din kami solar panels, actually hindi ganyan talaga yan. Mas konti yung inclination yan. Kasi inclined din bubungan, isinunod namin yung inclination niya 15 degrees din, based on the horizontal axis or with reference to the horizontal axis. Yan. So, yun lang. Simple lang. Ang pagkalagay namin dyan sa solar panels, they are facing south and having an inclination of 15 degrees. Ayan. Okay. So, now, let's move on naman sa may output na ng ating solar panels. Yung kanina, naipakita ko naman sa inyo yung gumapang na yellow wire and green wire. Those are the outputs na, the positive and negative wire. So, pumunta siya sa may, malapit sa main door. Eto na yun guys, kung mapapansin nyo, yung dalawang kulay itim na bumaba na yan at pumaganon, pumasok na ganon, na papunta dun sa may pader na taas ng main door natin, yan na yung output na yun na kanina. Yan na yung dalawang wires coming from the solar panels. Andyan na yung pinagsama-samang output power ng 16 solar panels. Yan na yun. Okay, so bakit yan namin inilagay? Okay, so ang consideration namin dyan is this. Yan kasi yung tapat ng main door. And actually, pagpasok mo sa main door na yan, pag humarap ka sa kaliwang pader, andun na yung panel board or main panel board ng bahay. Andun na rin ilalagay yung mga components such as the circuit breakers, SPDs, inverters, etc. So doon na ilalagay. Kaya doon namin sinuksok yung wire. Diyan na namin ibubutas sa taas na yan. Kasi paglabas niyan, kunting abante lang, okay, andun na yung DC circuit breaker na kukonektahan yan. Okay? So that is just the consideration kung bakit yan namin iginapang yung wires coming from the solar panels. Okay. So now, let's move on sa loob. Pagpasok natin sa loob ng bahay, pagpasok mo sa main door ng bahay at pagharap mo sa kaliwa, kagaya ng sabi ko kanina, andun na yung panel board ng bahay. So, dyan na rin ang ilalagay yung components, syempre. Okay? So, kung mapapansin nyo, ayun yung nasa taas na yun, yung dalawang wire, that green and yellow wires, yan yung bababa, kukonekta na sa ating components. Okay? So, yung output na yan coming from the solar panels, kukonekta na yan diretso sa may nakaset up na kulay blue na component na yan, that is the DC circuit breaker or direct current circuit breaker. Kasi DC output guys yung nagagaling sa solar panels. Kaya sa DC output natin ikokonekta. Okay. So, connecta yan sa line side ng DC circuit breaker. And ang DC circuit breaker natin, nabanggit na kanina, ang rating dapat niyan is 20 amps. Okay. So, may computation naman kanina kung bakit naging 20 amps. Okay. So, the rating of that circuit breaker is 20 amps. And in parallel with the line side ng DC circuit breaker natin, nakakonekta si DC surge protection device. Okay, so yan yung pula na component na nakaset up dyan sa ating pader. Okay, so yung DC SPD natin, ang rating yan is 500 to 550 volts. May computation din yan kanina kung bakit yan ang rating. Simple ang pagkakatanda ko, since yung maximum voltage ng bawat just solar na ginamit natin is 32.26, i-multiply mo sa 16, may lalabas na approximately 516 point something na volts. Okay, so yun yung output voltage coming from that kasi nakaseries yung pagsasama-samahin ng voltahe nun, di ba? So, dapat, hindi nalalayo doon yung SPD mo. Kaya, ang kinuha namin na rating ng SPD na ilalagay sa DC side is 500 to 550 volts. Okay? So, as expected, yung lumabas sa DC surge protection device natin, yan, kung mapapansin nyo, yung kulay blue na line na yan, na linya ng kulay blue na yan, yun is the grounding system or the ground, which is connected to the grounding system ng main panel board ng bahay. Okay? And then, sa load side ng ating DC circuit breaker, yung lumabas na sa DC circuit breaker natin, konektado na yan ngayon sa input side, which is the DC side ng ating inverter. Okay, ang ating inverter guys is a grow watt. And also, it has a rating of 5,000 watts. Bakit 5,000 watts yung pinili namin na inverter? Actually, it is a grid tie inverter kasi grid tie yung connection natin. Bakit 5,000 watts? Actually, kasi 5,000 watts kasi yung output ng solar panels natin is approximately or actually 4,500 something or approximately 4,500 watts. And it is well said na kapag pipili ka ng inverter na ilalagay mo sa iyong PV system, dapat hindi nagkakalayo sa output power ng solar panels yan. Since 4.5 yung output ng solar panels, we've come up na ang ilagay in grid tie inverter is 5,000 watts. Hindi sila nagkakalayo. May lamang lang na 500 watts. Okay, so kakayanin niya yung output coming from the solar panels. Okay. Paglabas ng ating inverter, of course, may tatlong wire na yan. And expected itong banda dito sa left side, which is yung may guhit din na kulay blue, yan is the ground ulit. Of course, that is connected to the grounding system again. And yung output na nanggaling doon sa may inverter natin na dalawa pang wire, actually those are the line and neutral na wires. Yan na yung output natin. Andiyan na yung output natin. Okay, so yan, connected sa ating AC circuit breaker to the line side of the AC circuit breaker. Yan, mapapansin nyo, yun yung dark blue na component. So that is the AC circuit breaker. And ano ba yung rating ng AC circuit breaker na ilalagay natin? Simple lang guys. Ang tumatakbo kasi na voltahe sa ating grid, sa Aliaga, to be specific, is 230 or 220 volts. And yung power na nanggagaling sa grow watt natin is 5,000, right? Kapag i-divide mo yan, di ba meron tayong power is equal to current times voltage. So, current is equal to power divided voltage. So, 5,000 or yung 4.5 divide mo sa divide natin sa 220 or 230 volts, mag-approximate 22 point something yan. So, we've come up na yung rating dapat ng AC circuit breaker namin is 25 amperes. Okay? So, mas mataas lang siya ng konti dito sa may rating ng AC side natin. Okay? Yung kuryente na dumadaloy dyan. So, 25 amperes. And in parallel ulit, sa line side ng ating AC circuit breaker is the AC surge protection device na naman. Para maiwasan yung pagkasira ng sistema kasi may pagkakataon na nagkakaroon ng surge ng voltahe. So dyan pupunta ulit sa surge protection device na yan. And yung rating ng ating AC surge protection device, since ang voltahe na tumatakbo o dumadaloy sa grid or yung rating ng grid ng voltahe is 220 hanggang 230 volts. So yung AC surge protection device natin, ang rating niya lang yan is from 230 to 275 volts. Okay? So yan yung yellow component natin dyan. And of course, yung lalabas doon is connected ulit sa grounding system. And yung nasa load side, yung lalabas na or yung output ng ating AC circuit breaker, connected na yan sa ating panel board ngayon. Okay? So connected na sa panel board. Ang pinili namin na connection is yung connection ng PV system is nasa line side ng panel board, which is in between the main circuit breaker and the meter. Okay, so doon siya nakakonekta. Okay, so yan lang guys yung connection ng ating ng mga components. And to secure, hindi naman pwedeng basta iginapang mo na lang yung wires. Okay, so gumamit kami ng mga anong tawag dito? They are cable ties or para siyang maliliit na C-clamp guys na kulay puti. Okay, so yan yung pinang-organize namin sa mga wires na gumapang mula sa bubungan hanggang sa components. Siyempre kapag sementado na, hindi na mapapakuan yun. So nakabound na yun. And ginamitan namin siya ng conduits. We use electrical conduits. It's either a black or orange conduits. Or yung karamihan, ang tawag dyan is multiplex. Yan. So yun yung inilagay namin sa mga wires para mas ma-enhance pa, mas mapataas pa yung safety and lifespan ng mga wires natin. Okay? So yun lang. Ngayon, kagaya ng ibang bahay na nagpo-produce ng ganyang renewable energy sources, 'di ba? So may mga pagkakataon, kagaya ng nabanggit sa mga previous reports, may mga pagkakataon na kapag sumobra yung naiproduce mo sa kinukonsumo ng bahay, pupunta sa grid 'yon. Ngayon, kapag wala kang metro na pang-export, is babasahin yun ng metro ng grid. Ngayon, instead of mailibre pa sa'yo yun or maibawas pa sa'yo yun, maidadagdag pa sa'yo kasi maire-reading natin. Okay? So, para maiwasan yon, i-a-apply namin ngayon itong bahay na ito ng net metering. Ayan. Ano nga ba yung net metering? Net metering guys, ito yung law or batas or way na kung saan yung excess na mapuproduce ng PV system natin o any renewable energy source sa bahay, kapag hindi or may sobra sa konsumo ng bahay, pupunta sa grid, babasahin ng metro, babayaran sa'yo ng grid kapag naka-apply ka sa net metering. Okay. So, ang nangyari dito guys, since in-apply namin, magkakaroon ng karagdagang grounding system, and then yung metro na gagamitin instead of unidirectional, magiging bidirectional yung metro na gagamitin. So yun lang yung idagdag na component natin guys, hindi nabanggit kanina yan. Isang bidirectional na metro para yung i-import coming from the grid gagamitin na bahay, maire-reading at iba yung reading ng lalabas, which is the excess coming from the solar panels or the PV system. Yung lalabas na yun, babayaran ng grid dito sa may-ari ng bahay. Okay? So we have applied this home for a net metering para ma-attain kung minsan, since ito kasi solar panels namin to intended para magkaroon ng zero billing. So since kung meron mang pasobra, syempre mag-export yan, okay, kikita pa itong bahay. Pero kung sakali mang walang susobra at sakto lang sa konsumo, at least this house will attain a zero billing. Okay? So kung for instances lang yun, yung net metering kapag may sumobra. Okay? So yun lang, yun na yung connections ng ating mga components and also yung pag-apply natin ng net metering dito sa bahay, which is magdadagdag lang ng component na tinatawag na bidirectional meter. Okay, baka nalilito kayo. Ano ba yung bidirectional meter? Okay, bidirectional meter from the word itself, bidirection, ibig sabihin, nababasa niyo yung pumapasok na voltahe, nababasa niya rin yung lumalabas na voltahe, which is yung ina-export mo. Yun na yung excess mo. Okay, so babayaran na yon ng grid sa bahay kapag naibasa na. Okay, so yun lang yung report natin about the connection and net metering.